Any word on cruising from Florida without a vaccine? So here's the deal. If you guys saw our video update last week, Royal Caribbean is going to allow cruises for the unvaccinated from certain ports like Los Angeles, Galveston, New Orleans, and Europe. But Florida ports are not there. Why? Because there are some countries, in fact, a lot of countries in the Caribbean that require the COVID vaccine for cruise ship passengers. It's their national law. It's not a Royal Caribbean decision. It's not a CDC decision. It's certainly not the state of Florida's decision. It's because these countries where the cruise ships visit, they have to adhere to those rules. Now, Travis, there's been no update, so that's to answer your question as directly as I can. But you also have to understand, I think this is going to be a very organic process. And you have to remember, a lot of these countries base their own protocols on CDC guidelines. As you may or may not be aware, the CDC just last week changed their guidelines as it relates to COVID-19. So there's hope that those countries will relax their protocols. But for right now, the issue is not Royal Caribbean or the state of Florida. It is these countries. The Bahamas is one of them. That's a big one. So obviously, if your cruise visits any of those ports, they wouldn't be able to do it. And I think that Royal Caribbean decided there's too many itineraries that simply have these countries in them. We're just going to not include Florida for now. But again, Travis, I think it's an inevitability. I don't know how inevitable, like tomorrow inevitable or, October inevitable. I don't know that yet. But you have to remember, not only is it these countries' laws, these countries have very different and quite frankly inferior medical care compared to the U.S. So it's a different situation for them. Can you bid on multiple Royal Up rooms at once or just one at a time? Yeah, you can do more than one, Cheryl. When you go to Royal Up, which is Royal Caribbean's stateroom bidding program, it will give you all the options, Cheryl. And you can place a bid for any of them or one of them. Keep in mind, by the way, that whichever one is accepted first is the one you get. It's not like, it's not like college where you're like, this is my safety school, so I'm going to wait for the other one. It doesn't really work that way. So, yeah. I'm going to Alaska in September on Radiance of the Seas. Is Skagway port issues regarding the rock slide affecting Royal Caribbean ships? It very much could, Noel. What it might end up happening would be that your ship would tender instead of dock. So what that means, instead of coming up to the dock, there'd be little tender boats to bring you on shore. It's going to be kind of you're going to have to play it by ear, quite frankly. There's no way to know because things are happening. And certainly if you're unaware, in Skagway, where the ships dock, there's a decent size. It's not a mountain. I don't know what you call it. A hill. It's bigger than a hill, a mountain. Anyway, a mountainside. And there's been some rock slides over there. And the problem is the rock slides not only are a safety issue, but they fall right onto the cruise ship dock. As you might imagine, that's not a good thing. So for that reason, there have been some ships that have not been able to get in there. And then additionally, some other ships have actually just done tendering. So it remains to be seen, Noel, what to expect. I know you want an answer, but being that you're a number of weeks away, don't know yet, quite frankly. Does Mariner of the Seas have an amplified pool deck? It does not. They did do some upgrades of the pool deck, but Stacey, it's not the same amplified pool deck like you see on Oasis of the Seas or Navigator of the Seas or Odyssey of the Seas. So it's certainly newer than what you saw on pre-amplification, but it's not like that new tropical shenanigan stuff that they got with the newer ones, which are really nice. What are some of your favorite things to do on Symphony of the Seas? Number one, the shows, right? You've got Hairspray, the Broadway musical, must see on board Symphony of the Seas. You've got Flight, which is an original Royal Caribbean production about the history of powered flight by man. It's a really powerful story. Love that. The ice skating shows, the Aqua Theater show. So number one, you want to make sure, Angela, you see every single show on board. They are worth seeing. And by the way, also the comedians are fantastic as well. So definitely worth doing, number one. Number two, I love some Hazumi hibachi. So I would do hibachi for a specialty restaurant meal if you're on Symphony of the Seas. Number three, I think you got to check out the amazing, the water slides, all the signature activities you can do on board. Water slides, zip line. Those are the flow rider if you're adventurous. I am not. But there's some really cool, fun activities on there to check out. And don't miss out on the Stowaway Piano Player, Angela. It's a lot of fun. There's no schedule. He or she will appear somewhere with a piano and an elevator and a hallway. It's pretty cool. They do a good job with it. Definitely worth stopping to see what's going on. How many vacations a year do you need to take to make yearly travel insurance worth it? Probably 3 is where you're probably in the ballpark where it makes sense, Mark. It depends on everybody, but yeah, right around 3 right there. How does using travel agents work? Do you recommend any? Yes, it's a great question. I recommend MEI Travel, MEI. If you go to RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, there's a giant yellow form. Fill that out, and they'll contact you. But basically, the way it works is the travel agent will book the cruise for you. They manage the reservation, your gratuities, if you're purchasing any transfers, if you want to buy travel insurance through the Royal Caribbean, they can assist you with that. That's basically what they control. The drink packages, the shore excursions, the Wi-Fi, all the fun stuff you still control via the cruise planner website. And so basically they handle the cruise booking. Now you might say, well, Matt, I can book my own cruise. I know my credit card number. Why would I am I that lazy that I can't have someone book a cruise for me? And it's not about that. Anybody can book a cruise. You're absolutely right. The thing is, a good travel agent can help you along the way. They will save you time and possibly money. Number one, they may know about certain discounts that are available to you that are not that you wouldn't be available to. In fact, I just booked a cruise today and I went to the website, I saw the price, and I said, all right, book it. And my travel agent did. It's a good news. Because of our agency's relationship with an association of travel agencies, I got $75 onboard credit for absolutely nothing. And I just qualified for it because it was a special rate. So off the bat, MEI Travel sent me $75. Beyond that, if you run into a problem, a change, they can be there to help you with it. It's kind of like having a lawyer in court, Ronnie, right? If you go to court, you can represent yourself, but then you got to learn the whole legal system by yourself. Similarly, or somewhat like that, with the travel agents, they know the back end ways. They will be the ones who call Royal Caribbean and sit on hold for like an hour instead of you. It's well worth it, and it really pays dividends the more cruises you book with them. What's normal for tipping? Already prepaid gratuities. Great question. So you prepaid gratuities, that covers your dining room staff and your stateroom attendant. So you should feel very good that you're covered there. Anything you buy on board, Daniel, whether you order a drink individually or you have a drink package, the gratuity is already included. It's automatic. So when you buy a drink, if you don't have a drink package and you just say, I'd like to have a beer, please, you'll see on the receipt, the beer is whatever, $8, whatever. And then you'll see a service charge on there, which covers gratuity. So really, the only tipping you need to truly worry about is porters. So when you drop your luggage off, it's customary to give the porter $1 or $2 per bag. Likewise, at the end of the cruise, when you pick up your luggage to go home, if you use a porter, it's customary to tip them as well. Also, it's customary to tip people in the places you're going, like on shore excursions, right? A driver, a tour guide. That's a little more ambiguous. It really depends on how long was the tour, how good was the tour guide, how many people are in your party. That's kind of a gut check. I don't have any good advice. It really depends. But the good news is, I mean, Royal Caribbean makes it very easy with the automatic gratuity in there. And the fact that you've already prepaid it, you're doing a good job right there. Because of the other two big ones dropping pre-testing for any lengths of cruising, do you think Royal will announce that they'll drop theirs this week? It's a great question. I don't know. I wish I did know. I know as much as you guys do, which is what we see here. Here's what I'll tell you, GS Adventures. I think when Royal Caribbean announced their stuff, it was the best information they had at the time, and they made their protocols based on that. I think what we're going to see is an evolving landscape of protocols. Do you guys remember when the protocols for cruising in general, like last year, between July 21 and November, December, I mean, the protocols were changing, they were changing every month. And even then they were changing many times within the month. I think we're now seeing that again going the other way. So it's going to be an organic process. Remember, some of these protocols, like the unvaccinated folks, can't even start cruising until September anyway. So things could change. So the answer is I have no earthly idea beyond what you know. So number one. Number two, yes, I do believe things will change. How quickly? That's a good question, GS Adventures. I don't know that. It is interesting that some lines have made, not quite a copy and paste of the other lines protocols. But again, there's been a lot remember, Royal Caribbean put out their protocols, and at the time, we were all like, woo! And now we're seeing some other lines make some changes, and now there's a little bit of Monday morning quarterbacking going on, which is fine, but, it's going to be an organic process. Give this time. As will it be this week? I really don't have any idea. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Of course, I will let you guys know if and when there's any updates about that at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Do you think they'll put the mason jar in future ships like Icon and Amped ships? I think we need more than one ship to get a PB&J Old Fashioned. Carrie, amen. I certainly hope so. I think Royal Caribbean has realized that it's kind of a home run and done really, really well. So I think the answer is probably, but there's only so much space for specialty restaurants. You never know about that. But I certainly think they've got a they've got a they're happy with how it's done on Wonder of the Seas. 89 Days to Harmony of the Seas, best place for sailaway. The truly best place would be the Bridge Wings. They can get a little crowded, but I would say the Bridge Wings is number one. Solarium in general is always good. Number two, those would be the places I would do. Number three, Aaron, the back of the ship. Go all the way to the back by the Flow Rider. It's a nice, pretty view out there as well. Not nearly as crowded. Is Royal Caribbean going to finally reveal the design of Icon of the Seas? It looks to be that case. I know that they've been looking at the fall for the time in which we're going to get more information about Icon of the Seas. No doubt, Lucho, you saw the video I posted last week with the teaser video for this new video series that Royal Caribbean is going to be producing, which we'll post here, of course, on our channel as well. So the answer is certainly soon, sooner than later, it will be revealed, which is great. They haven't said that, but I expect that to be the case given this new video series coming up there. So whether that is end of this month, September, October, I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Had first cruise ever on alert and absolutely loved it. You think starting on Oasis Class will ruin the rest of the industry by comparison? No, it's a good question. I think it's a fair question, actually, in fact. But I will say I don't think so. They're all different, right? If you ask anybody in the chat here who's been on an Oasis and a Radiance or a Vision class ship or a Voyager class ship, they'll tell you that they're different, not necessarily bad or worse or better. It's just they're different. And quite frankly, it goes back to something I talked about earlier, which is it's the cruise is what you make of it. You can have a great time on Grandeur this season. You have a great time on an Oasis class. There are certain advantages of going on a smaller / older cruise ship. So it's not to say that just because you've been on a massive big ship that it's all downhill from here. You can't possibly have anything that will exceed that. And I think the answer is that's not true at all. It's quite the opposite. It's just think of it more like cars, Matthew. Like driving a sedan is a different experience than driving a pickup truck, which is different than driving an 18-wheeler, which is different than driving a motorcycle, certainly, right? They both get you from point A to point B, but there's a different style to them, if you will, and other things. I hope this analogy makes any sense for you. You guys, thank you all so much. Really appreciate each and every one of you being here. It is amazing. If I didn't get to your question, you can always post it on our message boards at royalcaribbeanblog.com, or we'll be back again next Monday right here on YouTube. So come join us here each and every Monday that we're live. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun, and we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.